Jokes by user Nick0487. Title: A guy was boarding a plane when he heard that the Pope was on the same flight. This is exciting, thought the gentleman. I've always been a big fan of the Pope. Perhaps I'll be able to see him in person. Suddenly, the man realized his seat was right next to the Pope himself. Still, the gentleman was too shy to speak to His Holiness. Shortly after takeoff, the Pope took a crossword puzzle out of his carry-on bag and began penciling in the answers. This is fantastic, the gentleman mused. I'm really good at crosswords. It crossed his mind that if the Pope got stuck, he'd ask him for assistance. Almost as if Providence struck, the Pope turned to the man and said, "Excuse me, but do you know a four-letter word referring to a woman that ends in UNT?" The three cardinals behind, in front of and beside him shrunk down in their seats, as far as possible, all looking for something on the floor. The gentleman was in morbid shock. He couldn't breathe. He went within himself, thought deeper, longer for a plausible answer, and after almost a minute, the dark clouds of evil parted in his mind and the sun shone in. Turning to the Pope, the gentleman said with reverence and politeness, "I believe, Your Holiness, that you're looking for the word, ant." Of course, the Pope mused, not taking his gaze off the crossword. You wouldn't happen to have an eraser, would you? Comment by Light Bulns. Oh, is that who was sitting next to Dave? Reply by Who's Your Daddy-O? Dave wrote the joke. Comment by Mark DePuma. Saw it coming, but not the final twist. One up, vote for you. Reply by Hold On, I'd Top It My Dog. Me too. Comment by MCG1017. People who annoy you. Reply by Mithridates12. The best thing about it was how happy he looked when he said it. Reply by Thebigdicton. Oh gosh, I know it, but I really shouldn't say. Comment by Vestigial Head. Ah, so he wrote Hunt is in Helen. I hope he found that eraser. Comment by Strictrage, except that he could just add one line to turn that C into an A. Comment by NarSQI. The version of this that was part of a Two Ronnies sketch was great. It was at the end of a sketch about someone terrible at crosswords. They end on this joke, except a different word, and the response about needing an eraser comes from a nun that hadn't been shown in the sketch until that point. Sorry for the lack of start time in the link. Here, external link.